He's from Nevada and like he's trying to kill it in the stand-up scene. So let's give it up for my good friend Mike Garrity.
Howdy. Alright, man, this is my first time performing at Public House. Let's give it up for Public House. I love this place. Yeah. Okay, so with the weather changing in Chicago, it's reminded me of an old saying and a new question that I pose. Do you think that if the Native Americans knew that April showers brought Mayflowers, that they would have danced a lot less? Oh, thank you for your racism. That worked out for me. So I fucking hate Justin Bieber. I think that the only way I could like Justin Bieber is if I found out this entire time he was just a character played by Dakota Fanning. That kid can act, man. Well, what I do like, I like Star Trek, which is weird because I also like pussy. I just wish pussy had more lasers in it. That's true though. I know I don't look like it, and I get like I'm really into Star Trek, but ironically, I don't get accepted by the whole Star Trek community because I look like a meathead or a jock or something. But that is so not me. Like, you know, I honestly do love Star Trek. I'm really into musicals and theater. I'm 30 and I own a blankie. Like, I'm not that guy, but I can't go to, I want to go to conventions. I want to go to Star Trek conventions, but I can't. I show up and there's just hundreds of nerds running away from me like I'm some kind of giant nerd-eating monster that's just going to walk around slapping lunch trays out of people's hands. Like, I have a Starfleet badge too. I like pointy ears and philosophical debates on the Prime Directive. But I go to the Star Trek Into Darkness premiere and there's just like 100 nerds throwing their hands up in disgust. Like, we can't have anything nice. But I just want to I want to be accepted by it. I feel like maybe what I need to do is save a nerd. If I could save a nerd's life in front of other nerds, then they would be forced to like accept me as a community, and I'd finally have someone to play Risk with. It'd be awesome. I'd be like the big friendly giant. I'd be carrying nerds on my shoulder, getting like kites out of trees and shit. Oh, it'd be like if they ever got picked on by a bully, it'd be like that scene in Avengers where Tony Stark's talking to Loki. You're like, oh yeah? Well, we got a Hulk. It's me. It's true, man. If it wasn't for my growth spurt, I'd probably still be inside of a locker today. I mean, when I was 12 years old, my parents, they uprooted me and moved me to Fresno, California. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Fresno, California, but it's the capital of Mexico. It's a strange place, man. Like, there's this old TV show called In the Heat of the Night, and there's a character on that show named Bubba. Yeah, Bubba from In the Heat of the Night, he's the mayor of Fresno. And that's true. Like, his campaign slogan was Fresno, Frez yes. Or Frez C, depending on where you got which Albertsons you got your sticker from. It's a weird place, man. It's like nothing but ghettos surrounded by miles and miles of farmland. It's like the only place in the world you can live on a farm and be in a gang at the same time. It's like the gangbangers in Fresno, they have cornrows, but it's not a hairdo, it's where they work. I remember a kid I went to school with named Jaime. That kid, he was in a gang called the Bulldogs, and he used to pick on me, but I wasn't scared of Jaime because he also raised goats on a vineyard. And like, I can't be scared of someone that's gotta like hurry up and get home because they got too many chores. It's just not scary to me. It was kind of a culture shock when I moved to Fresno because they put me in a Mexican school, and it was called El Capitan Middle School. I was like one of the only white kids there. They had a dress code, if I remember right, it was like khaki pants and airbrushed Selena t-shirts. By the way, if you want to start a fight at a Mexican school, by the way, just badmouth Selena. Say one bad word about Selena and fucking duck, because fists and hot Cheetos are going to go flying. That's... anything for Salinas. It's true, man. I went to school with all these little asshole cousins of gangbangers and stuff, like little vatos in training. And they picked on me because like they called me Wedo, which is slang for white boy. And all day, every day, I was just hear like, hey, Widow, your hair's on fire, hey? Hey, Conan's, O'Brien's, your hair's on fire. I used to, like, I got a complex. I was like ashamed to have red hair. It was to the point where I'd have to like psych myself up in the morning just to get on the bus. Like I'd be in the bathroom mirror just staring at myself like, your hair is not on fire. Your hair is not on fire. In Scotland, you're normal. I was all bitter about it. I used to like pray to God, like let this be the year I get a tan instead of blisters. I thought, then I was listening to Johnny Cash, that song A Boy Named Sue, and I realized that my life, that's like God's version of A Boy Named Sue. Like I'm gonna be bitter in my whole life, and then one day I'm gonna die, and I'm gonna go to heaven, and I'm gonna walk right up to him and kick him in the dick and be like, hey, Allah, thanks a lot for all the sunburns and the red hair. You know what that was like for me growing up in the barrio? The fuck were you thinking? And he's just gonna be like, my son, I knew that you would have to be tough to make it through El Capitan. So I made you orange and pasty. But I knew you'd have to go at it alone because, let's face it, I'm God. And I don't spend a whole lot of time in Fresno. Alright, I want to leave you with one thing. Before we get the show started. This is an impression. This is my impression of a guy who ran out of weed. So he pretends to be a stand-up comedian so that he could get a microphone and ask a room full of people if they had any weed. Okay, here we go. Seriously, does anyone have any weed? Alright, thanks guys. Get your hands together. Let's get ready for the Untitled Sketch Show.